right, this thing just came out of nowhere, so it seems. Over 20,000 have been evacuated as wildfires are tearing through Northern California.
A number of residents have been reported missing. As you mentioned, some 20,000 people have been evacuated, and thousands of firefighters are. This morning, it had erupted into multiple fires that had jumped mountain ridges and freeways and had just grown, pushed by these very strong winds, sustained of about.
People are unaccounted for and all of that. Do we know numbers on that, or any update on that?
People are unaccounted for and all of that. Do we know numbers on that, or any update on that?
They evacuated you guys? Yeah. And what time? They came at 2?
Are we being recorded?
Yeah, is that all right?
No,
I'm just doing it for documentary.
Oh.
You're not in the picture.
It was about 2:30 a.m.
And how do they notify you?
The police came
We
around.
called first, and then the cars came around.
And did the fires come from the sky? I mean, how did the fire start?
Is this a personal thing for you, or?
Yeah, I'm just documenting it. I work for an
Yeah, it was
insurance company.
A lot of smoke. Winds are swirling, 80-mile-an-hour gusts.
But it wasn't that windy. I live.
No,
No,
it was
it
very
was 80
windy.
miles per hour.
Things were blowing all over.
But I'm down here on by Bennett Valley, and
over
we didn't
here,
have any
it was-
winds there
it
at
was
all.
like- it was very
Yeah,
windy.
so we were in an area when we
Yeah.
evacuated, there's no winds either. Up here it was blowing up to 80 miles an hour because things were blowing all over the place. So I thought
Yeah.
the roof was going to blow off.
So
Oh my
we
gosh.
woke up to go outside to secure the stuff from the wind.
That's right. A lot of smoke and ash. Then the cops came by in the cars and said, "Get out."
Were you able to grab anything?
Toilet kit.
Oh my gosh.
Back.
Well, I've got a bunch of donated clothes if anybody needs clothes.
Well, thank you.
I'm taking them down to the Veterans Building down there. I'm sorry, you guys, you've lost it.
Okay, thanks.
I was just in Houston with Hurricane Harvey, and
Oh,
What do you do?
I'm in insurance,
Oh, okay.
and so I was just
What's your
there.
insurance company?
State Farm.
okay.
What do you guys have?
Farmers.
Farmers?
But my friend for 55 years, he's our insurance agent. I grew up with him.
And are you covered?
Yeah.
Good, because the people in Houston are. They don't cover flood insurance.
Well, we didn't have earthquake insurance,
Water.
so we were expecting an earthquake, not something like this.
Oh no, this.
Because if you have a fire, usually the fire department comes and puts the fire out and at least saves some of your house. But in this case, I can see that the fire line was made here because nothing burned from here south. They let everything burn up to here, and I think that's where the line was drawn there. So they let it go.
But how did the trees stay with the fire being so intense it melts the cars? How did the trees not get burned if this was a fire?
A lot of the trees did.
But here, I mean, look at right there. There's trees still have bushes on them and stuff, but it was burned down to the chimneys.
Yeah.
This thing, I mean, to melt metal is 3,000 degrees to melt cars. I mean, look at this car. The rim's all the way down. I mean, this was torched. That's what I'm saying. They've never seen anything like this before.
The only way I recognize it.
And I guess Orange County's on fire now too down in LA. They got a similar type of event going on there.
Still going north up here too. I hear Mendocino and Ukiah,
Oh gosh.
Geyserville.
Yeah, that's still there.
Yeah, this is big. This is.
It's unprecedented.
Because it came through Sweet
Yeah, we always thought the Oakland fire,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a wipeout, but I think this is bigger than the Oakland fire. Much greater.
What do you remember 2007? I was up in my ranch in Mendocino. I mean, look at this house. This house has got touched here, but it's still fine, and there's still branches, but across the street, it's just completely torched.
Yeah, but I think that's where they were drawing the line.
Right there.
Yeah.
But you'd see water. You'd see water damage from all the water they poured on it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the.
Control is wrong. It's not under control. But how are they battling this now as it spreads in different areas?
Well, it's going to be an air attack.
So let's take a peek at what happened here. Well, let me just show you some pictures here of normal house fires. What's usually left afterwards? There's a bunch of rubble and everything's black. Usually the frames of the buildings stand. And there's a bunch of crap around the trees or around the place, buildings. The frame of the building stays intact. The entire building does not disappear. There's still debris. There's a huge debris field after these things. You see there's like gutters and stuff. And the wood, even though it does burn, it doesn't totally burn. Now this is white stuff from what they put the fire out with, but generally you see that all of these houses, every one of them is black. Now this car was right next to a fire, and it still has glass. Its wheels are still intact. It was actually, this thing actually burned, but it didn't melt the tires. It didn't melt the glass of the vehicle. You see all the rubble? This is just rubble because these places implode. I mean, after the structure falls apart, it collapses. But you still see they're all singed. They're all black. And even in the forest fires, the trees themselves are still black. And you can see, you know, you have bricks on the bottom, and not all the aluminum siding or vinyl siding melts. Look at these. The structure, the outward frame of the houses still stands. But that's not what we see in these crazy forest fires. The entire things just disappear. And there's very little explanation for it. Now this was a USA something wildfire. So this is a new trend we're seeing where the entire building just disappears. There's absolutely nothing left, and that's what we're seeing again here in this. And this is becoming a growing trend, guys. There's no explanation for it. I want to show you a couple of things here that should really should be visible to the people with eyes to see. Here's this neighborhood before. And I want you to look, you guys. There's absolutely nothing left. You don't see any part of any of the structures anywhere. This isn't possible. There's something else going on here. Something else going on here. The entire building. Everything's gone but the trees.
Washington Post article says it's 107,000 acres. Crews are fighting 17 wildfires. I heard there was up to 60 strikes that came out of nowhere. It's really serious, moving fast. The heat, the lack of humidity, and the winds are all driving a very dangerous situation. The pace of the burn took firefighters by surprise. That's what all of them say. They'd never seen anything like this. Fire torched 20,000 acres in 12 hours. A phenomenal rate of growth, Cal Fire's Cox called it. So here you see the fires that were spot fires, folks. That didn't burn and then burn to one area and to the other. I mean, there wasn't embers blowing from Napa to Sonoma to Vacaville to Santa Rosa, what they're trying to tell you. Now they're trying to say there was arson. I'm getting reports of jeans with matches in them on the road to suggest it was arson and stuff like that. That's a bunch of baloney. It's scary times, looks like Armageddon, they're saying here. And here's what I want to get to. It looks like a bombing run, said winemaker in Sonoma County, just chimneys and burned out cars. So we go over to the New York Times article. Everything was incinerated. There's like a lot of hyperbole in this article here, but you can see, here's the cars being damaged. They're showing the combination of wind and fire was unstoppable in the Coffee subdivision. These are some of the pictures I'm providing here as well. It looks like a bomb went off, a nuke bomb. All new, folks. New type of weather war terrorism, geoterrorism, with the movie Geostorm coming up in a few days. Earth does not just completely heat up. And here we see a fire from Fort McMurray that happened last year in August that started as a 1 kilometer fire and grew into a 2-month-long fire, evacuations. But more clearly, this Channel Truth has come out and is starting to question what type of fire. And if you take a look at this picture right here, here's a bedroom community that was devastated, but look at the devastation. The trees are still up, there's still life around, except the homes are devastated like a directed energy weapon. And this is the question I'm asking. Did they use a directed energy weapons to start the fires and continue the fires going on in Fort McMurray? And there was also another fire up in Canada. This was August of last year. And look at this house here. One house gets absolutely pulverized and destroyed, and the next house next to it is completely fine. And we see this time and time again. Cars are absolutely incinerated, but look in the back. There's a wooden fence still standing. How can that be? And it seems like these, as Truth documents here in a little bit, that they came out of, the weather came out of nowhere. And I'll do the timeline and show it was a complete surprise to the fire departments and kept growing. Here we see absolute devastation, but then we see trees. This was in May. It was 86 degrees in May in Canada, folks. Look at the inside of this car. Doesn't this remind you of 9/11 when cars were charred outside?
Ground. This must have been ground zero where this thing blew up. Car after car after car. Buses completely obliterated and burned straight down to the steel. Car after car after car, buses completely obliterated and burned straight down to the steel.
Tell us, sir. Maybe it's the calm before the storm. What's the storm? Could be the calm before the storm. Maybe it's the calm before the storm. What's the storm? Could be the calm before the storm.
We are monsters. Oh.
We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out. Give us a hint from your Majesty. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, what did you mean by calm before the storm yesterday? What did you mean by that?
Thank you very much. You'll find out.
We'll find out.
Thank you. We'll see. Thank you, everybody. North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. Like the world has never seen. Like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before. The likes of which this world has never seen before.
Let there be no mistake. We shall completely destroy Japan's power to make war. It was to spare the Japanese people from utter destruction that the ultimatum of July the 26th was issued at Potsdam. Their leaders promptly rejected that ultimatum. If they do not now accept our terms, they may expect a rain of ruin from the air, the like of which has never been seen on this earth. The like of which has never been seen on this earth. The like of which has never been seen on this earth. Behind this air attack will follow sea and land forces in such numbers and power as as they have not yet seen, and with the fighting skill